Oh.
There it is.
Do you like this? Do you like my stainless steel koozie?
Oh, for sure. Classy.
Isn't that nice?
Just
some screw.
Not over branding. Just keeps it chill. What are you drinking? Is that a Yingling?
That is a Yingling, my friend.
All right.
Why did I buy Yingling? Ask me why I bought Yingling.
Because you're in Ohio.
I bought Yingling because it was the day before the 4th, and I wanted to celebrate. So I figured might as well buy America's oldest brewery. Do you like that?
I do. Of course, you got to have a reason.
Hello, and thank you very much for downloading this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. You can download many more episodes at movieguyspodcast.podbean.com.
You know you've been podcasting a long time where one of your first reviews ever comes out, and then a decade later comes the second one. You remember reviewing this one? I do.
I think so.
We're talking Furiosa, the prequel to Fury Road. Eric, how the hell are you doing?
Excited to talk about this one as always with you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Now, how big into the Mad Max saga are you? This is the fourth film. Fifth film.
This is the fifth film. I know a little more than the average bear, but not like super geek. You know what I mean? Like, I know enough.
Sure. Did you learn anything new from this movie?
No, because the past two, Fury Road and this one, is negating 1, 2, and 3 ever happened.
It's just basically the wasteland and the outback, which I already thought the outback was.
Right. Well, the first thing that they actually do at the beginning of this movie, they actually zoom in, from outer space to Earth, and finally they are establishing that this is Australia because they showed the continent of Australia, and the other 4 movies they never said where.
Right.
Correct. So this is them acknowledging that this is Australia. But other than that, that's it, right? And yeah, I am not a fan of the first Mad Max movie. I'm on record for saying that one.
With Mel Gibson?
Yeah, number 2,
the one where he runs all the time?
Yeah, because so it's really interesting, right? You know how people say that Terminator 2 is just a remake of number 1, just done with a bigger budget?
Uh-huh.
That's what Road Warrior is in a way, right? Because when you watch 1, 2, and 3, the originals, I mean, they're kind of like standalone stories. They don't really connect with each other.
A little bit. And that first one was, as campy as it was, even though it was successful, it did seem odd just because of how the bad guys were. How they would make animal noises and how they would taunt, just their overall behavior basically just seemed to be without any purpose, just because they were just doing it just to kind of do it, which was weird. It also seemed like they were under the influence out of their time, but they never really established what they were under the influence of, and it was just kind of a weird. It's almost like they just threw you into the story and didn't really tell you all about the story.
Right, which now that we know that this is in Australia, let's pretend that those other movies happened, right? 1, 2, 3. Australia is a huge continent.
Yes.
So all we're following is the Fury Road saga, if you will, right? The little Gastown bullet farm and the Citadel. That's all we're following, which is not that. It's a section of Australia.
Yeah, it seems like, again, that they're purposefully putting themselves away from the abundant resources of a lot of there's a rainforest in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like they're establishing a lot of their headquarters away from that area, away from where the water is. But you know what? You're right. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself because this is the apocalypse. There is radioactivity. There was a war that we can assume happened, and so I'm not gonna, I guess, ignore that.
Yeah, something happened. We don't know what. Still in this saga, we do not know what has happened. But why are we here with Furiosa? And was it Anna Taylor-Joy? Yes.
Yeah.
Why is Anna Taylor-Joy playing her? Why isn't Charlize Theron playing her? I know why, but I was asking. And why come out 10 years later? Too late. I have said that a lot this season so far. I mean, this movie should have came out 9 years ago.
Absolutely. Now, was there? Hold on. I think there was something in the trivia here that says that George Miller said that the film script was already complete for Furiosa before Fury Road was even filmed. In order to tell the story cohesively, we had to know everything that happened in the time before. So they wrote about Furiosa from the time when she was a child, and as she refers to in Fury Road, until she became the Imperator Furiosa.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess they had this story planned out for a long time.
They were supposed to film
Was it
back to
just
back.
George Miller being George Miller and just being like, I want more money? Was it a rights thing with the studio?
It was a back to back. They were going to film it back to back, but like that's why we don't see Tom Hardy back, and that's another reason why we don't see Charlize Theron back. Fury Road was a horrible set to be on.
From what I understand, the making of these movies, Furiosa and Mad Max, apparently sucks for everyone involved. I
Not
don't.
this one.
Anna Taylor-Joy said that this movie was hard for her to make because she was secluded for the most of the making. She said that filming and the hours were horrendous. She said that the crew was not very friendly. She said that she didn't interact much with the other actors, and it was very lonely. And we all know about Mad Max Fury Road, about how Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron hated each other,
Right.
and that whole thing where it got to the point where they were walking off sets, and really that's a fun
Yeah.
YouTube video for everyone else to look at on your own. But yeah, you can look up actors that hate each other. So is this franchise cursed?
Not cursed. I just think that George Mill. That's what. If you go back and watch Fury Road and now this movie, right? This you can totally tell that this movie's green screened. Now I know there's tons of visual effects in Fury Road, right? We can never say that there's not. But the one thing that was cool about Fury Road is that movie. I could feel the sand in that movie. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of practical stuff in that movie. This movie, with the way that they shot it, which they had a different cinematographer than the last one, this movie felt like Chris Hemsworth was standing in front of a green screen. That's why I made the assumption that it wasn't as harsh as the other ones because I think George Miller's pushing 90, is he not?
Yeah, he's getting old, and I agree with you completely.
Thank you. So the one thing that's great about this franchise, though, is we get some memorable villains. Now, the first one, Toe Cutter, it's Toe Cutter. Who cares? But that guy, that actor, later goes on to play Immortan Joe, which is the series Joker, I would say, right?
Oh,
Like this
absolutely.
is this is the big one, right? But then what was this bad guy? Oh, shoot, what was the name of Road Warrior? Something Lord Mungus or something like that.
Yeah, let me pull that up here.
There was bad, and like Tina Turner was something really stupid.
Oh, that's right, Tina Turner.
Yeah, remember she had the theme song, which was legit, Thunderdome. Like it was great.
Yeah.
Thunderdome was fun, right? And then I'm also going to say Chris Hemsworth is a really good villain.
I really felt like Chris Hemsworth was having a lot of fun in this
I
movie.
feel. Oh yeah, so you remember the scene in Infinity War? No, not Infinity War. Endgame, where they go to get Thor, and he's like fat, and he's just drinking a bunch of beers with the buddies and playing games.
Yeah.
I figured that was him on set, just regardless of the beer gut. Like I think this guy was constantly bringing in kegs.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like he was
just
just having a good time between takes. I like that he was in minor prosthetics. I like that he had a funny little voice, which I'm sure he pulled from his past somewhere.
I had to because I enjoy. What is his name in this? I gotta know here. I gotta know what his name is.
What, in this movie?
Yeah, what is it?
Dementus.
Dementis. Yeah, Dementis. And then what was Tina Turner's name? I gotta know these things. Hold on. Mad Max Thunderdome, right?
Yeah.
So she was called. Tina Turner's name was
Here.
Auntie
Entity. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Road Warrior, the sequel, was called The Gyro Captain? No. The Humongous. There you go. The Humongous.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So these names are stupid.
Oh, they get even stupider in this movie where
Stupider.
They even get more stupid as we go into this movie where the sons are Scrotus and Rectus.
Well, yeah. So that's another thing too. We'll talk about as we get to it, right?
Rictus,
There are some characters in this movie that were not mentioned or at all in the sequel. This is a prequel to Fury Road. So let's get into it, right? So Anna Taylor-Joy is not in this yet. Little Furiosa is in what do they call it? The Green Place, right? With many mothers, right? The Green Place. Now she said in Fury Road that it's the Green Place where there's many mothers. Now we got a chance to get a glimpse of the Green Place, like the main street, if you will. There was a lot of men there too.
Yeah,
everybody. It was kind of like a
little oasis, little fun spot in the outback.
Now, BS. This is me being nitpicky, but Little Furiosa and her friend are reaching for the highest fruit or whatever they're trying to do, and they see a bunch of jerks on bikes killing a horse for meat, right? There is this place looks huge, like really big.
Oh yeah.
There's no walls or gates. Do these people expect that they're never gonna get found?
I think that they're just maybe protective so far. They have weapons. They can snipe. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they can snipe, but it's like from what we could tell, like when we go to the main street of the Green Place, there's no walls. Like there's nothing protecting them from
They're
anybody.
also 2 days, 3 days ride out from where the nearest fort is or fortress. Yeah.
But this kind of proves my point, though. Eventually, somebody's going to find them, and 3 dipshits do.
Yeah.
Literally, we find out.
Yeah, especially in a world where apparently gasoline doesn't matter and you can just ride on a bike 4 days in the desert without having to worry about running out of fuel or overheating. I understand they try to play into it, but this is where this movie kind of gets a little silly. Fury Road had that a bit, but this really goes into that territory a lot.
Sure. Well,
where like bullets, you know what I mean? Like bullets don't matter, fuel doesn't matter, time or targeting doesn't matter. Always a headshot.
Tumors don't matter. The last movie was riddled with people with disfigurements and tumors.
Heat stroke doesn't matter. You're in Australia.
Yeah, this doesn't matter in this movie.
Yeah, so they kind of just ignore all that. They're wearing leather.
In the desert in Australia. Kind of like how Doom, right? But so Little Furiosa tries to save the day. She gets kidnapped by these guys. And then they take her. Now Furiosa's mom, who's an amazing sniper, goes after her, gets her daughter, tries to go after her daughter. And this little girl's smart, man. Like she would there'd be little things that she would do on the road. Like she would use her teeth to do something to get herself out, or like she would steal a flare.
Bite the fuel line.
Bite the fuel line. Thank you. She'd bite the fuel line. That was smart. This girl was tough. I was impressed.
Yeah, she knew what was up.
Yeah, she came from the Isle of Wonder Women.
Not afraid to shank a dude either.
No. And this is where she gets brought to the leader, Dementus, which Chris Hemsworth, looking like Jesus, is just, he's the greatest thing in this movie.
Oh, absolutely. He is the movie.
He's on screen. I cannot look away because it's so outlandish that this guy who was Thor and super, super serious for so long, right, got bit by the Ragnarok bug, and he's just using it all the time.
He is a cartoon character in this movie,
to say the least.
Yeah.
Yes, this guy's amazing. So when we first get introduced to him, she gets brought to this tent, and he's like kneeling down talking to this tattoos all over this person, right? Because this person's kind of like their history book, right?
Yep.
They're all seeing eye of the past. And he stands up with this white robe, just all Jesus-y, and he's trying to make us think that he's caring, right? He has this little teddy bear that's attached to his belt. He goes, hey, we're going to take her home tomorrow, give her everything that she needs, we'll give her home. People that I've seen online have said that they feel that Chris Hemsworth is like this because he actually had a family at one point, and his little girl died horrendously, and this was her doll, her stuffed animal. So that's why he was so keen to Furiosa because of that. I call BS. I think he just found this doll or he killed somebody for the doll. This guy doesn't have a heart.
He's made reference to his family that he had before a few different times in this movie, but I would still say I agree with you that BS. He didn't do that because he had a heart. Even though he does claim her to be his daughter later on, I think that the main goal is to get to the green place, and he's trying to be a friend. He's trying to build trust so that he eventually can get the answer out of her.
I don't think he has a past. I mean, I think he's kind of Dark Knight Joker in this, right? I mean, he says he has a family.
Well, no,
is that true?
because at the end, where he's talking with Furiosa before she kills him, he does this whole yeah, you're right, but he does this whole thing where kind of like Joker and Batman in Dark Knight. He's like we're just like each other. The more you deny it, the more that it's true. We have nothing to live for. We do this just to get a feeling. We do this to do something because what we had before, what we were going for, was taken from us. What gave us a reason and what drove us is no longer there, and so we either do this to get something, that feeling back to let us know that we're still alive, or we do it out of sheer revenge and just hatred, knowing that no one else should be allowed to be happy because we are not allowed to be happy.
That's a great thing, right? I mean, like, what a great line for a character like that to say. But at the end of the day, because of how slimy he is, I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Just because of how slimy he is.
He brings up a good point. It's hard to deny it, especially because as he's saying it, I don't think he ever realizes that he's saying it to the person that he took away the happiness from.
That's the irony.
Essentially, right? It wasn't really him as much. It was the 4 bikers that went there and stole the horse.
Right. Well, ate the horse.
Killed the horse.
Tried to eat the horse.
and write out the location. So
right.
it's a gray line there, but again, we could point the finger at him easily.
Right. So mom shows up, snipes and kills everybody. Amazing. Mom screws up though. Every time they do these movies, right? You get introduced to this badass assassin that just has no soul, right? Just pops everybody, pop, 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 don't care. But then she sees this woman that's in the tent, just like, oh my God, no. And she's just like, okay, let her live. If she would have killed that woman, Furiosa.
And the movie roll credits.
Yeah, right. I mean, that done, over with, right? But no, mom escapes, does not kill the woman. Mom and Furiosa get caught again, and mom gets strung up and I'm assuming gets disemboweled.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it to show her a good time. It seems like they were really just, I don't know, burning her alive or really just giving her end, right? Killing her.
I thought they were William Wallacing her.
Yeah, they could have been doing that. Maybe a little bit of a flay. It seems like a lot of people in this world do cannibalism.
I mean, I believe that they would, right?
Yeah, of course, when it's scarce. So I don't know if that's an option, but yeah, it's not good for her.
Right. So now Furiosa is now held captive, if you will.
She comes back to try to save her, or I don't know, try to do something.
Nothing, right? At that point, mom said, "Go." She had it. She had
the way out.
Again, roll credits. Mom gets William Wallace, if you will, or Joan of Arc, if you will. And she could have just gone. Could have gone, but we couldn't do that to our film. Well, wait a minute. Anyway, I just say, see you, Ma.
Yeah.
I'll
never forget you.
I left the stove on. But now Furiosa is now held captive with Dementis. What?
Oh no, I'm just laughing at your comment.
Oh my God, I left the stove on.
I was like, we can keep on going with that bit. Yeah, exactly.
You like it? Don't look under my bed.
No matter what I say, just keep on going. Don't save me. Then they stir up. Oh, help me! Save me! Save me! Come back, please!
But you told me not to save you.
It burns. It hurts so bad.
That's your fault.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to Young Frankenstein on that. No matter what I say, don't open this door.
What door? So,
for the love of God, open the door.
So now she's a part of this biker gang, and she doesn't talk. She's mute now, right? And Dementis is saying that, hey, guess what? She's my daughter, blah, blah. They start getting into little skirmishes here and there, and then this is where we meet a war boy who is dying, right?
Yep.
And we get introduced to the Citadel.
Yep.
We're back to the Citadel.
And it
15?
seems like Dementis just has a little biker gang off the grid somewhere, right? And so he doesn't. They're just nomads, and he finally learns about the Citadel, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just take this over." And obviously, for the sake of everyone listening, and of course, especially you, Sarah, I will not do the voice that Chris Hemsworth had done in this, which I can only imagine. The best way that I can compare it to is Nigel Thornberry in Australia.
Hi.
I tried it before. Maybe I'll do it once just so I can stop it again. All right. It's okay.
All right, listen here now. Gonna take this Citadel.
That's it. I'm not doing it after that.
Call that a knife there, Morton Joe? That's not a knife. You call them what? I was gonna call them chas wizards.
Oh, jeez. No, I'm fighting it. I don't want to do it so bad. My accents are really taking over ever since becoming a dad. Everything has an accent now, and I just all these characters are just pouring out, and that's why I think. Yeah. There you go. Chris Hemsworth is a dad. I know he is, just because he's got these goofy, dumb voices that he does, and he's like, you know what? They're gonna make. You know what? It's gonna be a character. Eh? Okay, I did it. You did it.
You did it. So this is how stupid Chris Hemsworth is, though. Not because his character is not smart. His character is very stupid, right? The reason why I say this is because he shows up to the Citadel, and all the Citadel is these three giant mountains in this valley in between these three mountains.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay, so kill everybody in the valley, but there's no way you're going to get up there. Like, he should have seen that. Or he did see that. He's just too stupid to realize. He's like, all right, Martin Joe, listen here.
Yeah.
We're going to kill you. And it's like, no, you're not. That's just like, what was his thought process?
I think what he was trying to do was form or rally a mutiny. Which is because he's done it before. Really, what we've seen everywhere he goes, he's just like, rally around me, let me be your leader, and we will take over. This person, Morton Joe, is unfair to you. He takes everything for himself. If you follow me and let me lead, then we will all share the wealth together. But we need to defeat him in order to do that. Who's with me? And I think that's what his thing was. Disagree with it all you will, but he did not realize that going into the Citadel, what blind faith all of the citizens have for Morton Joe.
I love how he had. I don't disagree with you. I'm shaking my head because this is like, look at your surroundings. Another Batman reference.
Yeah.
Like you have no way to mutiny anybody.
He rolled a charisma check and failed there.
Right. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Immortan Joe or Rictus or somebody like picks out. No, I'm sorry. Chris Hemsworth was like, bring your best guy down. We'll have a fight, and we'll see. You know.
Morton Joe says that, and then he picks Dementis. Chris Hemsworth takes a Smeg, his little underling, whatever the hell that thing was, his little pet, and he picks one of the War Boys, and the War Boy kamikazes.
Suicide jumps off the cliff and bombs and blow up half of
Witness
everybody.
me.
Oh my god! And then right there, this is why Immortan Joe's probably the Joker, or like the great villain of this franchise, right? Because I mean, Dementis may have followers, but they will not kamikaze the way Immortan Joe's people are. You know what I mean? Like Immortan Joe had.
Yeah, he's got these boys believing.
Yeah, believing in I don't know what. He doesn't provide.
Valhalla.
That's it, right? I mean, because I watched Fury Road to prepare for this, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is he believing in? Because all he does is gives them Aqua Cola once in a while. Aqua Cola, that's what they would call it. But okay, so now something I want to talk about. So we get reintroduced to Immortan Joe. This is what, 15 years before Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the same actor that's played Immortan Joe. This is acted by somebody else.
Correct.
And eventually, after the failed mutiny, Chris Hemsworth takes over the Bullet Farm. No, Gastown. Takes over Gastown. And after he takes over Gastown, he comes back to the Citadel to negotiate with Immortan Joe. Immortan Joe is a POS, right? He's a horrible person. He's a really horrible person.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
Is it me, or did this movie make it seem like Immortan Joe was not that evil? He didn't seem evil in this movie.
I think you just kind of knew going into the movie what he was all about. Obviously, he's an overlord,
right?
But we didn't get to see the angry overlord. We just got to see the kind of the bothered, democratic overlord trying to keep the peace between three fortresses. And yeah, I think we got more of the other characters and less of a Immortan Joe, right? Whereas in Fury Road, because he had his ladies taken from him, he was pissed.
Right, that's the only thing, right? Because the last movie he was pissed, in this movie he's kind of democratic. But there's some characters, like there's a character that it's not in Fury Road. One of the brothers, right? So do you remember in Fury Road where you had that one brother that was horribly disformed, that was kind of like a dwarf, that was in that swing, that was always looking to not in this movie at all.
Not in this movie at all. I found it to be, not to cut you off there, but that there is an actor who's in Furiosa and in Fury Road who plays one actor who plays different characters.
Who's that?
Josh Hellman is the guy's name. He plays Scrotus in this movie. But
the other brother.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he played one of the War Boys in. Here, I'll pull it up here. I'm pretty sure he played one of the War Boys. He played Slit in Fury Road.
Oh, was that the best friend?
Nux, yeah.
Nux, the best. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fun.
He's the guy that looks like Stifler.
Yeah. No, he looked like Stifler, indeed. So I wonder why they didn't introduce the brother in the swing. I mean, maybe because it's 50. Maybe that brother's 50. I don't know. He had a full beard. So, but I don't know.
Creative choices. Who knows?
Right. But then Immortan Joe sees little Furiosa and is like, hey, yeah, sure, go ahead, be the dictator of Gastown, but my giant nose friend guy here, who's going to be eventually in charge of Gastown, we want the little one. And then that's where Chris Hemsworth does his fake, oi, I lost her, lost her mother,
Does this whole sob story, and you can tell that Immortan Joe isn't buying it. He's Dementus might be charismatic and smart, but he's not intelligent. And Morton Joe always seems to be 4 steps ahead of everybody.
Right.
And I don't know if that's just him or if the company that he keeps. Probably a little bit of both, actually. But he's just like, whatever, Dementus. He doesn't take him seriously. He's like, whatever, I don't care. Sure. Give me the girl and give me your blood engineer.
Right, which was in the last movie. Also, too, I think Immortan Joe's cocky because of his layout, right? That is where you want to be in an apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
Right. When you see the bullet farm, which you didn't see in Fury Road, it's just a cavern. It's
a quarry almost. It's a
it's
pit.
quarry thing. It's a pit. It's a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And it's just a little gate, and that's it. That easily taken, right? And then Gastown is just surrounded by oil with a bridge, like easily taken, right? And both Bullet Farm and Gastown have those bridges all the way around them, so people can come up around and snipe. Morton Joe is sitting like a king, pun intended.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gastown looking like Midgar from Final Fantasy. But yeah, of course, the Citadel is top.
Right, obviously. And the other two are bottoms.
Yeah.
So he gives him Gastown, and of course, life happens. Now, Rictus, the brother, starts to show a very inappropriate liking to Furiosa. This is why the tumors and the inbreeding happens in the Immortan Joe Citadel, right?
Yep.
But then Furiosa runs away.
Smart girl, by the way, too.
Right? She shaves her head. Nobody's the wiser. That's the way I took the movie. Yeah. And Morton Joe's not looking for, where's this little girl that I just got? And Rictus is not like, where is she? Like, the rest of the movie, like they just think she'd die. That's a huge issue I have with this movie.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird thing where they don't explain that, where the girl goes missing, and then the same part, a young boy her age kind of is around and proves himself to be, what was it? What was the role?
Well, this tanker was falling down or whatever, so she had to jump to disconnect the tanker to save it or something like that, right?
Yep.
And it's just like, I guess it really bothered me, Eric, to where I was like, this doesn't make sense, and it started to irritate me, as you can tell, right? Because I'm like, you just got her in Morton Joe, long hair. She escapes Rictus's horrible, paws, and now nobody's on the wiser, and she still goes by Furiosa.
Not till later.
Oh, she's not called. Okay, so she was not introduced to Morton Joe as Furiosa.
No, the next time that she is addressed as Furiosa, so she leaves, and disguises herself as the mute teenage boy, right?
Right.
And she does that role of helping with the war rig and whatever that role that Scrotus gives her. We don't hear her being addressed as Furiosa until her and Praetorian Jack, right?
Is that her love interest?
Yeah, the guy who's driving the war rig.
Right.
Until they form a bond, and I don't even think she immediately says that until they get to like Gastown or Bullet Town, I think is when she possibly goes by that again. But after that, it rarely is even said her name. Even after that, it was when she came back to the Citadel, right? And then she finally, after she loses her arm,
right, and that's when she does.
That's when she says, "I'm Furiosa." Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really when she starts going by that name.
Very obvious what I'm about to say. You felt the same way. Everybody who watches it felt the same way. I didn't trust this love interest, dude. Didn't trust him one bit. I don't know, even if the outcome was different for him, if I still would have trusted him.
Yeah. Why trust anyone in this world, right?
I don't know, but because at the end of it, though, which we're gonna get into the relationship, but at the end of it, though, I think he kind of was honest the whole time.
Oh yeah.
So this guy was the Imperium Furiosa, right? He was driving the war rig, and Furiosa stole aboard. And by the way, so Chris Hemsworth has a band of bikers that went rogue, right? They kind of like went against him.
He does a crap job of running Gastown.
Right.
And so bad that there are smaller groups that are just going off and doing their own thing and trying to be their own gang. And obviously, he cannot control them. We know this because the few times that we see them at Gastown, there is just unruliness from everyone there trying to take things for themselves.
Right. And one of the things I was commenting on is that on their way to Gastown, to drop off mother's milk and to get gas, the other faction had like this floaty demon balloon thing in the air.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of visually cool. I just wanted to say that part. That was cool.
I think a lot of this movie was visually pretty cool. It just got a little much or cartoony after a while where and again, the first hour of this movie, there was a lot of talking, a lot of just character or I don't want to say character building, story building. It was just like over and over and over. Just like, okay, let's get to some juice here, buddy. Let me get to it. I bought a ticket because I wanted to see some desert chase scenes and some explosions and some boom booms. I don't want to hear about how and then the stars and I'll always be with you and my daughter and then the weird accent that he was doing. I don't want to hear any of that. It's nice to have. I get it makes sense later on, but you know the audience. It's not why we're here.
But you're never going to get a Fury Road again. For some reason, I guess we got to review a Batman movie, right? Because I was in that camp and everybody was so excited for Dark Knight Rises. And me and amongst my friends, I was like, it's not going to be Dark Knight. I mean, like, you're not going to get another Dark Knight. You're not going to get another Fury Road, right? Like, you're not going to get that. So I went into this knowing that.
Yeah, but okay. I completely see that. But in that part, they skipped over a lot of things that maybe would have been its own series. They talked about the 40-day war.
Yeah, that was done, snap quick.
They even had a narration over it, talking about the different wars that happened in history, and now we have come the 40-day war between Gastown and the Citadel. So let's see that, bud. Let me get that. Give a little bit of Furiosa, and maybe she's not necessarily the Cleopatra or the Helen of Troy as to why they fight. Maybe has a small part in it. I get that as well too. Or maybe she's the person that rises above and shows to be the dominant warrior and all this. But there's a big movie right there. That's how you redo Fury Road, is if you highlight the battle between the Citadel and Gastown, or just have it be its own little story about how these people try to take over Gastown.
Yeah, now that you're saying this, because I do remember they're talking about it, because there's a 40-day war that they just talk about real quick, and God, you're right. See, this is why Hollywood needs me and you.
Yeah,
we're
the idea men.
Yeah, guys come in like, okay, listen to this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and there's gonna be a 40-day war. We're gonna do this, and I can see you and me going, whoa, 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 whoa. There's a 40-day war.
Yeah.
In Mad Max world, that's the movie. Furiosa is Gladiator in this, literally Russell Crowe in it, right?
Hey, totally.
Somehow she's great. She gets thrown into a situation. She overcomes and becomes amazing, right? There's your movie. Yeah, that's a hell of a good point.
Yeah, because how they did it in Rebel Moon is that they would have just had Furiosa just come out here as out of Taylor-Joy, excuse me. Now just kicking ass, and then when she gets into bed with Praetorian Jack while she's playing with his chest hairs and getting all cuddly with him, she goes, I was a little girl at the green place one day, and then there was a band of bikers that came by, and they killed a horse, and they was kidnapped, and then the Dementors came, yada yada. And there you go. You could wrap up that whole. Instead of it being an hour, you could take 5-10 minutes to explain that,
Right.
and it would still be a better movie than Rebel Moon.
No, you hate that movie. But so what's the name of her love interest again?
Jack. We'll just call him Jack.
Jack. So Jack and her develop this bond and this trust, and they're going to come up with this plan where they're going to go to the bullet farm to exchange bullets. But then this was going to be their out, right? They were going to do this one last job and out. Then they were going to go to the green place together.
Yep.
Right. Soon as they enter, no. Dementis took over the bullet farm, and this is where the movie really picks up. This is where Mad Max comes into play, right? Like, this is very bloody, very violent. I enjoyed it. This was the thrill ride, right?
Yeah. But this scene in the bullet town where they go in there and they get the trap, that's bait. I feel like we got to say it once this podcast, right? That's bait.
That's bait.
I'm trying to do my Max impression there. This part felt less like Mad Max and felt a lot more like Borderlands, the video game, which is a movie that's going to be coming out later this year as well too.
Boo.
That's what I'm saying. Boo. Especially,
I hate that game.
I feel like that's what this is, and I feel like that's why Borderlands is might be where this movie kind of this could be a fine line between that movie and this movie, where I feel like that movie Borderlands is going to be a more comical version of this one because it's got Kevin Hart who's going to overreact. Oh, what you doing? Why are you doing that? Whereas this one has Chris Hemsworth doing his weird voice and trying to be serious about it, even though it's funny to hear him do that, and he still has little one-liners. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're getting more and more cartoony as we get other adaptations of this.
Right, but the good thing is, though, is even though it is cartoony, though, when it's him and her, I thought they were going to make it. I mean, that's when you know that you have a good movie, right? Because they escape the bullet farm, her and Jack, right? They're in the car. Eventually, Dementis comes after him. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to make it, though. I mean, the rest, because not knowing where this movie's going, right?
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the movie is going to be a chase all the way to the green place, right? But it's like, no, stupid. She hasn't been to the green place in years. Something bad's going to happen. But there was a brief moment in time, where it's like, oh my God, they're going to make it. And they do. Oh, they do almost. And then what a way to go. Dementis and his guys, hook up Jack to Jack?
Yeah, Jack.
Hooks Jack up to the end of the bike with the rope. It makes him walk or run behind the bike until his leg can't take anymore. And they just drag him raw
and have the dogs eat him
for hours and hours, and then
makes Furiosa watch too.
Now we know that the Furiosa character was not defined by her one arm, but that was a big character trait. So this moment of her getting her arm damaged and cutting off her arm to become the cape and cowl, if you will, I didn't like. That's how she lost her arm. I would have just rather her born with one arm, personally. I don't think we needed to have a scene of her cutting off her arm. But then this is where she comes back and she's like, "I'm Furiosa," and she gets the mechanical hand.
Well, that arm was kind of destroyed anyway because in the chase it got caught in the wheel of Dementis's six-wheeled monster truck,
which is amazing.
Which was really cool. Now, another complaint that I have about this movie, because after her, Furiosa and Jack leave Bullet Farm, the Bullet Town, whatever you want to call it, and this happens many times in this movie, that no matter how much of a lead that the people have, they always get caught up to.
Yeah, that was annoying. I was like, there's no way they're going to get caught. I mean, they're just so far gone.
I gotta say, you have that sort of car, and you're just ripping open desert, just going through. And then telling me 5 minutes later, you're telling me that Dementis' big old monster truck and a a gang of bikers are just now hot on your trail. And you had them locked in the gate, man. And you had that much of a lead, and you still couldn't. I get that maybe tracking can be involved because it's a desert, you can see the tracks. But there's the other problem there too, is that you have other people going back and forth, back and forth. You're telling me that like tracks aren't or roads aren't created because of how often and frequent they're taken between fortresses. Like that's how roads are formed. That's how they did in Greek and Rome, right? Was that because paths were so commonly taken, you compressed the ground so much, you beat it down so much that it formed its own natural road. You're telling me that it's not going to happen in the desert, where if you're taking the same tracks over and over again, there's not going to be it's not going to just be one set of fresh tracks. But
Right,
again,
which is
it's a small gripe of the movie. It's dumb, whatever. It just seems like it's a small detail.
well, no, I mean to kind of add more to this, what I hated was they were in this open desert valley, and they're seeing behind them on the top of the cliffs Dementis and his goons,
Yeah.
and it's like that's a far freaking distance. They're probably an hour behind them, at least.
Yeah.
There's no way, but you're right. I mean, but they catch up with them, and then
They
after
did it
this,
with the
isn't this?
green place too, with her mom catching up to the guys that in sniping
Oh
a mile
yeah.
away. They did it again in the gas town where he was. Anyway, go ahead.
But this is where we get the 40-day war, which just gets glossed over, right? It takes Furiosa 40 days to recoup,
Yeah.
right? And this is where Dementis is just completely broken and shattered.
Yeah.
Now what happens, right? So now Furiosa comes back, joins the fight against Dementis, and this is where her and him have his little like, I'm dying, so I'm gonna tell you my evil plan speech. Or this that's just in the beginning.
Dementis is on the run because he basically was trying to he was fighting the Citadel and ultimately was losing, and so he
Right.
in his whatever crew he had left was just on the run, and Furiosa takes Scrotus's car and gives chase, catching up to him yet again, no matter what the lead is, and right was able to find him, and then we have the showdown.
We have the showdown, and this is where he admits that he had something in the past, like you said, right?
He gives his
But
big speech.
I do want to talk in detail though, because the movie kind of screws with you a little bit, because this shows one scene of her killing him, but then it goes back to her rethinking that, right? So did she actually kill him? Did she not? But the almost end of the movie is the the narrator is like, did she kill him, or is he in the Citadel, but his crotch has grown a tree around him?
They gave the narration of what possibly had happened. He said that Furiosa told him what that she killed him, like right there, or that it was the tree thing, but that she could have just shot him right there, or she could have killed him the same way that he killed Jack by tying him up and then dragging him back to the Citadel.
Right.
But the movie ends with the possibility that she gave him the forever torture of him basically having a peach tree being planted inside of him and then having a peach tree grow out of him while he's still alive. Almost like the fountain style, right?
Right. That's why I was asking, because it was coming out of his stomach then, not his crotch. It was coming out. Well,
It looked very much like it was out of his lower
right.
abdomen there.
Right, and he had that weird like look, he's like, ah, this made you free. I didn't like that. What I didn't like either, what I don't like at all, which I enjoyed this movie for what it was, but what made me kind of go, was the last shot of the movie was Furiosa taking the wives to go kick off Mad Max Fury Road. I didn't like that they did that because she's so young. And she doesn't look like Charlize Theron.
Yeah, we get to see a little Easter egg
like
of her ending at that, and we also get to see that part when she was going back to the Citadel, right? Where we get to see Tom Hardy's character posted up on top of the mountain.
Was that Tom Hardy? I thought that was supposed to be Max
Yeah, that was supposed to be Max.
watching her.
Yeah.
Because that explains why he was in the area.
Yeah.
So, boo. I
Boo.
didn't like how they did that, Eric, to be honest with you.
No, I don't. Listen, there's parts of this movie that I didn't like how they did, and we've gone over a few, and all the other ones I feel like I'm nitpicking for it. I feel like they hammered too hard onto one story, and they ignored all the other parts that would have been a little bit better. I understand that Furiosa is the main character, but they really tried to tell a lot in a 2-hour, 2.5 hour, 2 hour 15 minute, 2.5 hours. They
Wow,
tried.
that's 2.5 hours. Good job. Didn't feel like that.
Yeah, they tried to tell a lot in 2.5 hours, and it felt like at a point where we didn't need all of it. You could have cut it down to you didn't need 20 minutes to tell 5 minutes of story.
I agree.
If I'm
Right.
making sense of that, her being a child and the mother part of it too. There's a way to do and save time. I feel like you could have, if you already have voiceover telling you certain parts about the 40-year or the 40-day war, or telling you how Dementis was killed. You can use that same voiceover, which you did in the beginning already for a little bit. You could use to bring you up to speed on maybe how Furiosa was kidnapped, or how the fortresses were established, or how Dementis came to power, or you could have used that to cut your time down. I don't see a whole lot of purpose of having the biker gang going to Dementis's lair in the first part of the movie and having all of that and then showing the mother's death. It just seemed like it was, I'm repeating myself, something that could have been told in a much shorter amount of time rather than shown in the amount of time that it was given.
Personally, since you and I talked about this, what I've rather seen is, the Citadel's a big place, right? And people know the Citadel, right? And eventually the Green Place probably would have to trade for something at one point in time. And the Citadel is the only place that we've seen that has water and food. So if this was my movie, go ahead.
No, I was just saying because we know that the Green Place doesn't exist in Fury Road.
Right. So this
becomes a swamp.
If this was my movie, right, meaning that if they were like, okay, Jordan, Eric, how would you write this? I would say have the battle be between Dementis and the Green Place. That's your 40-day war, because they never brought it up in the last movie. 40-day war was never brought up. This is a new thing for this movie.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
So have the 40-day war be Dementis trying to take over the Green Place, and then somebody from the Green Place escapes. Could be Furiosa, if you will. She's like a carrier, like a messenger. And then that's when Immortan Joe and his goons come to save the Green Place, to destroy Dementis and everybody. But he's Immortan Joe. He's a jerk, for the lack of words. So then he says, you know what? I'm going to take Furiosa because she's cool, and I'm going to burn this mother effer to the ground.
But that's a big thing. I see where you're going, because we don't know how the Green Place is destroyed, really, right?
Right. So that's why you would do that.
Yeah, and just because of that opening part, just like you said before, there's a good community there. There's people that it looked like there's a whole kind of warrior hierarchy. Like people are there and they can fight. They obviously know what they're doing.
Right.
And for them to just be a blip in this movie and then a sentence of a scene in the next movie, I feel like you're taking out a big part of what the story could be, of what the world is, and what the backstory of Furiosa is. Give her a reason to I want to go back a bit more, because at a certain point I understand it, but she's so far removed. Most of her life is spent in the fortresses. Yeah.
Yeah, away from the Green Place. I mean, yeah. So like, I guess if I made that my movie, then it would be wrong then, because in the Fury Road story, she hasn't been there forever, so she would have not seen the place burn. But there could be ways you could write about it. But that's how you do it, right? That's the 40-Day War. That's how you do it, because now you make Immortan Joe even more terrifying.
Yeah, there's options.
There's tons of options. And we have options now to give this a popcorn rating. And I think for the third week in a row, we're going to give this a medium. I mean, like, it's such a cop-out popcorn rating, but it's not bad. It's not good. It's very, very average. And I enjoy for what it is. I think it's a solid prequel to Fury Road, but there is missing a lot of elements that I think they should have focused more on, like you were saying. So I'm left asking more questions. Chris Hemsworth is amazing in this. He's a gem.
Yeah.
I love him. We didn't talk about Anna Taylor-Joy's acting, and I don't think we needed to, because I thought she was just fine as Furiosa. I had no complaints with her at all. None.
No, she was great.
I thought she did fine. The guy who replaced the actor for Immortan Joe, I couldn't tell the difference. I thought he did fine. Everybody did fine. So medium bag for me. Eric, what do you give Furiosa?
You know, I was going to give a medium, but after we've talked about this, I think I'm going to go more for the small. I feel well, listen, I did enjoy this movie. I'm not going to lie. There were parts of the action that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the characters for what they were. I thought that was great. And 2.5 hours movie, it really kind of flew by. It was still long. You definitely knew it was long, but I was still having a good enough time to where I wasn't checking my phone or checking my watch the entire time that the runtime was happening here. But the reason why is because of the gripes that I mentioned before about how they just kind of threw away just for the sake of being a fun movie. It's like, oh, well, don't worry about this. We'll just, no one's going to ask these questions about, logistics and the science about how these cars really don't have an issue with oil, about how engineers are just basically all around and they can just build these anyway, it doesn't matter that part. And again, with like the environment itself, about how everything works, I understand that. It's more, as we're talking now, about the possibilities of what they're missing. Like, they told the wrong story here. And as much as I enjoyed these characters for what they were, just like you said, I've left with more questions, and I want to see that movie. I think that this movie would have been better as two separate movies. You could have made a Mad Max new trilogy quite easily, I think, if you would have introduced Furiosa into this movie, making it her own movie, but then having this, instead of end into her taking the 5 wives out, having it end at the start of the war.
Something like that would be great.
Yeah, that I think that would have built up a bit more hype. I think that would have fit well, so that you could still have the characters with each other, you still obey kind of the rules of the world that you're creating. But I think you're just leaving a lot out here. You're still leaving a lot of chicken on the bone here, and you need to not ignore that. So I don't know if they're going to make another one of this. It seems like this movie did not do well at the box office. It was budgeted for, what's it, 168 million. Golly, that seems like a lot. 168 million budget for this damn movie. And
it's more than the last one.
And its opening weekend was 26 million.
You know why they put it? I mean, let's just call it out. Let's be honest. Do you know why they threw all this into this movie? Just because the creator is almost 90 years old. He's not going to be around to do a trilogy. It took him 10 years to do a prequel.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean? And what Thunderdome was 80 something, and it took 30 years to do a sequel to that.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. It's
You're talking about the guy who spent all this time to make Mad Max, but took him 5 years to make Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2.
Yeah, that guy.
He's the same guy. And yes, everyone who's listening, he did direct Happy Feet 1 and 2.
Yeah, instead of doing Happy Feet, work on the thing that you're known for.
He also did Babe Pig in the City.
Yeah, so what happened was he had children. Those children grew up, and he became a grandparent, and he started making kiddie stuff. Because he wanted his grandkids to see it. Now those grandkids are college age or older, and now I'm going to make my apocalypse
Yeah,
movies.
what I want to make here. So we'll see. Again, there's a lot of good parts in this movie. I think they just could have been better, and we're also, as I said before, this movie I think made Fury Road better. To be honest, watching this movie made me really want to watch Fury Road again.
It's fun. Go back. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun, but it just seemed this Furiosa just seems so much more cartoony. Just seems so much more. What's it? The Flanderization, right? It just seems like it's really become a parody of itself almost, to the point where we're going to get Borderlands, and it's just going to be a very close movie from each other here.
Right.
I just didn't. I was left wanting more, and not satisfied from what I had. I should have ordered the soup and not the salad.
Right, but this is a very, very good soup. And I mean, I did enjoy this, so we are repeating ourselves. I think this is not a movie for a Sunday afternoon. I feel that if you are a Mad Max fan, or if you're just if you're a Fury Road fan, then this movie I think would do it for you. So I would say check it out. But that's why I'm giving it a medium. You know what I mean? Because it deserves more.
Oh, sure. Listen, if you liked Fury Road, I think you'll like this movie. And I did like Fury Road, and I did like this movie. I really did. I just think that the difference between the two was such a far step of what could have been.
Right.
And I don't know whose decision making that was. Just like you said, it's George Miller just being like, all right, well, let's just hurry this up. I got another 2 years to live here.
Right. And possibly. Well, everybody, that concludes our review for Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Make sure to check out this episode of Movie Guys Podcast at podbean.com or wherever you get your podcast from. We are on. Eric, thank you so much for joining me. And we'll be back next Thursday for another awesome episode. Have a good night. Star Wars, but Riley doesn't know Star Wars. What I mean by this is when we were growing up, Star Wars were just the 3 old movies, right? The OG trilogy. The toys really weren't that popular when we were younger. There was no shows, there was no serials. Mass marketing for Star Wars wasn't a thing when we were little.
They make their guest appearances on like the Muppets or kind of some sort of Jim Henson production just because of the puppets and Muppets they were using. A sprinkle here and there.
About that. Well, in 97, when I was 10 and you were a few years older than me, that's when they came out with the special edition trilogy, right? And then it's been Star Wars ever since 1997. I'm sure you would agree.
The added scenes, the new CGI rendered scenes, yep.
Had to go to Taco Bell to get toys. You know, it was a thing, right? And I watched, just as you watched, the OG trilogy first.
Yeah.
So when Empire Strikes Back happened, your jaw, my jaw, every millennial's jaw was on the ground, just like Gen Xers and Boomers. I'm sure you would agree. Right?
Some more than others, but
with the reveal, right? So Riley says to me about a month ago, Dad, I want to start watching Star Wars. And I said, okay. Because she sees Baby Yoda everywhere. She bought, we have in the pantry right now, Star Wars Oreos with the cream inside, like standard, but with Pop Rocks inside of the crate.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Just all about the Star Wars is mass marketed. So, of course, and all these cartoons and everything, right? So I said, okay, but I'm going to show you the way that it's intended, right? So last month I showed her A New Hope. And 30 minutes into it, if that, Riley was running around, not caring.
Boring.
Boring, right? But I will give my daughter credit. She made an announcement. She made a commitment. She's going to stick through it. So the agreement is once a month, we're going to watch a Star Wars movie in the order that is intended.
Yes.
And for just so maybe you're on the same page, the order it's intended is 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Right?
Yeah, we're not doing the Topher cut or the Tarantino cut. Sure.
No, we're not doing it. So over this weekend, I showed her Empire. And as soon as I clicked play, you knew I was giddy.
Oh, yeah.
I was excited because I know what was going to happen at the end.
This is going to be the one.
This is going to be the one that turns her, right? So there is no flair to this. I mean, Gina wanted me to, because she's going to listen to this. She wanted to make sure I'm not lying to you, because I get a sense of being showmanship sometimes. But I show her, and we get to Yoda, and she goes, "Baby Yoda!" And I was like, "That's not Baby Yoda.
Baby, that ain't Baby Yoda.
That is Yoda." And she goes, "Oh, so Baby Yoda is Yoda. So this is Baby Yoda's dad?" No, his name's Grogu. It's no, and doesn't understand. The Battle Hoth could not care.
What?
I was like, this is probably the best battle, if not the Ewok battle, which was fun for kids in return. But
you got the uncut. You even got like the snow beast yeti thing, whatever the thing's called. I apologize for people who are correcting me.
She just didn't care. And there'd be parts where like she would be looking somewhere else. I'd be like, "Oh, you just missed the back of Vader's head," and she's like, "Oh, rewind it," and then the Emperor shows up, and I was like, "Oh, that's the Emperor." She goes, "Who's that?" And I was like, "That's like the Emperor's boss." And she's like, "I'm sorry, that's like Vader's boss." She's like, "Oh, okay, I don't know.
A whopper. Sorry.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Vader's boss.
No, I'm sorry, I was distracted. So Vader's boss. So here comes the fight. You know where this is going, and he's just like, "But you're not a Jedi yet," and they're going in, and I'm just like, "Is this excited?" Like that annoying person that just keeps on hitting you, like, "Isn't this fun? Is this fun?"
Watch it. Yeah, hey, you like it?
Yeah, like you're on a roller coaster, you don't want to be, but your buddy's like, "Isn't this fun?" It's not. And I'm just like, this is the first time Luke and Vader are fighting. This is a big deal, right? This is a huge deal, right? All of a sudden, cuts off Luke's hand. I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm scared," right? Doesn't phase her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, "No, I am your father." And I paused it,
Spoiler.
and I did that look, and I went, "Huh?
What do you think?
You could see me doing this. I'm like, huh? And she goes,
Keep going.
That was it. She went,
I
was like, what? Whoa, what do you mean?
Go to your room right now. Think about this.
And I'm like, I'm gonna, because I got loud, so I'm not gonna do that for this. But I'm screaming, "What do you mean?" And my wife's like, "She's just not into Star Wars, honey." I was like, no. This went on for about a half an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And Riley says, "I mean, it's not that big of a deal, Dad."
Whoa. Yeah.
Like, whoa. And I'm realizing, like last summer, I showed her the opening of Jaws because she really wanted to see, because she heard kids talking about it. And I thought that would mess her up. Didn't phase her one bit. The opening Jaws still freaks me out.
See, this is where you leave your daughter. You go become the evil lord that you are destined to be. And then she, when she gets tired of being on a moisture farm can grow up to be the chosen one.
Right.
And when she finds you, then it'll all come back full circle and be like, I'm your father. And then her mind will be blown and be like, yep, that's right. Dad played out this 20-year con here so that you would understand.
Kind of like how Jim Carrey did to Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.